Well, hey folks, I have some sound issues, got those fixed up. In case you hear voices in the background, obviously as you can tell, I'm at my best friend's place, Cassie and Kyle. They're doing their thing. They are off of work and taking it easy and relaxing. So anyway, here I am, among all the noises, doing a show where I'm going to fantasy book the 2001 Invasion angle. Now, I got inspiration from this from talking to a bunch of people, a bunch of wrestling fans from 20 years old to 35 years old to older than me. And I'm 35. So, I got inspiration from that. I've seen other videos on it on YouTube. Just I'm not going to name drop in particular. I mean, What Culture Wrestling was one that I watched. At Wrestle Rant had some good stuff. At TNA WWE Guy had some good stuff. So, overall, there's a lot of really cool people that inspired me to come up with my own videos here. So I'm coming up with my way of booking the Invasion angle because, as everybody knows, the biggest stars they had were DDP, Booker T, and maybe Buff Bagwell. And all due respect to those three guys, as a hand waves from one of the producers. All due respect to those three guys. Maybe disrespect to Buff Bagwell since I don't really care about Buff Bagwell. DDP and Booker T were big stars, but you would have the big guns. You would have a lot of the guys people remembered from WCW that a lot of mainstream people remembered. Booker T and DDP were fantastic, but the way it was booked, Vince would not let his own ego do anything, to allow guys to go over his talent. And the whole angle ran from literally Shane buying WCW at the end of March and ran through almost the end of Survivor Series. But the whole thing of influx of an invasion and whatever didn't really happen until a couple months into it, and then you had the Invasion pay-per-view, so right before that, right after King of the Ring, and then right through Survivor Series is really when the whole thing started. I can do it much, much better. So I want to point out here that obviously, I want to put some spoilers here, or, just put some stuff. We're going to obviously, the tag team division will be focused on teams like Sean O'Haire and Mark Jindrak. Sean O'Haire and Sean Stasiak, Mark Jindrak will be in there also. Mike Awesome will be in there. And some various talents. Mike Sanders will not be here. A lot of the people that Vince signed, as far as the mid-card to lower-card guys, will still be signed. But we're going to start out with Vince paying out big money because he had a lot of guys with AOL Time Warner contracts. He's going to pay out big money for Goldberg, the Steiners, Randy Savage. He's going to, in a special feud I'm going to talk about for SummerSlam, Rey Mysterio, Sting, NWO, Hall, Nash and Hogan, Bischoff, Lex Luger, and Ric Flair. But he's not going to. Some of these aren't going to debut for a bit, so I'll get to that. So let's just say the whole thing goes with Shane buying WCW. You have Vince and Shane have their match at WrestleMania 7, and the really awkward thing with Lynn McMahon being drugged and forced to watch her husband kiss women in front of him. Or in front of her, that was really awkward. But you have Shane as the pseudo owner of WCW. So you still got that feud going, and everything. You get through Backlash 2001, which is still a fun pay-per-view. And then you get to Judgment Day 2001. And you got the card lined up like it was. Look the card up. I'm not going to go through every single pay-per-view card and say this is what will change, this is what will change. But you got Judgment Day 2001. You still got the two-man power trip, Triple H and Stone Cold Steve Austin. You still got Taker battling, Kane battling them. And you got groups like X Factor, Albert, X-Pac, and Just Incredible. So you got some low-card guys. You got some really good talent. Judgment Day 2001, suddenly, without warning, even though the internet would have announced it, because they would have announced some deals, WCW stars create anarchy. They're attacking talents in the back. You got guys from Mike Awesome to Rhino. And I'm going to focus more on the WCW side because all due respect to the ECW talents, but besides the ones that Vince had signed, I didn't really give a shit about a lot of the ones that he didn't sign. I mean, no disrespect. But anyway, ECW is going to kind of get left by the wayside here. The talents will be able to join in, but they'll be on the WWE side because all due respect, ECW as a brand was already done. And the producer would like to chime in there as he sniffs around, for remains of Wendy's Nuggets. Shout out Finn, you love your chicken. Anyway, like I said, WCW starts creating anarchy. Massive anarchy, attacking talents backstage during matches. And there's a main event, Austin, Triple H, two-man power trip. Actually, both producers are here. Hey, kitties. Both Austin and Triple H are there, and versus Kane and Taker. They're having a match. It's a great, 18, 20-minute classic. Great tag team stuff. Austin and Triple H in particular being great heels. Austin trying to heel it up like crazy after turning on The Rock and joining Vince at WrestleMania. That still happens, despite the fact that it won't go on as long as it should have, or as it did, in the Alliance. You got these guys, and then all of a sudden, WCW guys rush the ring. Booker T, DDP, Randy Savage, people like that. You got people like that. You got, Sting that comes down. A lot of people, or it's like, not Sting yet, but you got, like, say, the Steiners, Randy Savage, DDP, Booker T, those kind of guys. You will have those guys attack. And initially, and you'll have lower card guys attack, like Ginger Ack, Mike Awesome, Sean O'Hare, Chuck Palumbo. I forgot about Chuck Palumbo. You'll have Sean Stasiak come back. And you'll have a lot of good stuff. And then you'll have that where all four guys, Austin, Triple H, Taker, and Kane, are laid out under the WCW banner. They take this giant banner, these two flags, these like WCW flags, and they just lay them over the bodies. This is pre-9/11, so you can still do this, because this would not be seen as, tasteless until the towers fell. You would ease back on that stuff afterwards. But that's how Judgment Day 2001 ends. Austin, Triple H, Taker, and Kane are laid out. DDP, Savage, Steiners, Booker T, and lower card guys are just like all celebrating everything in WCW, and they spray paint WCW in the WWE ring. And on the banners and on the staging. And I apologize for my coughing. Raw the next night. And I wrote out some dialogue, so forgive me here. But Vince is like, I bought WCW. Why are you attacking my guys? I own you. And suddenly, Bischoff's music hits. And it could be I'm Back. It could be whatever music. It could be the music from WCW. It doesn't matter. Bischoff comes down, or it's like actually you hear a voice. You don't even hear his theme yet. But you hear from backstage, Vince. Oh, you didn't think you'd get rid of me so easily, did you? Bischoff being the smarmy guy that he is and everything and doing all that. And they banter. And finally, Bischoff basically wants a chance to show that WCW is the more powerful brand. So Vince says, fine. We can do it at King of the Ring. Bischoff says, I'll take 16 of my guys in a tournament. You take 16 of your guys in a tournament. And over the next Raws and SmackDowns, they have it where you whittle it down to 4 guys each. So you have the semifinals and the finals of each one. And it comes down to DDP and The Rock. WCW's People's Champion versus WWE's People's Champion. And it's great stuff. So basically, the winners would face off on Raw, since you have the tournaments actually get out of the way. So, you have all that happen. You actually have the tournaments. You actually have it 8. I take that back. You're going to have 8. You're going to have 8 and 8. And you're going to have the finals where Rock and DDP, People's Champion versus People's Champion, are going to meet on Raw. And they're like, okay, cool. Whoever wins picks the stipulations for the next pay-per-view, which will be Invasion. So, you get to, it's down to Rock. He comes back early from the whole Scorpion King thing. He comes back right after Judgment Day. He's finished filming and stuff like that. And he goes away. He's not on SmackDown. He's on Raw, comes in, and does this stuff. Anyway, Rock almost wins. Then suddenly Savage, not suddenly Susan, suddenly Randy Savage runs down. Yeah, 50-year-old Randy Savage, whatever. Referee's down. Low blows The Rock. Hits him with a clothesline. DDP suddenly, hits him with a low blow. DDP suddenly diamond cutter to The Rock. Boom. 1, 2, 3, and suddenly WCW can pick the stipulations for the Invasion pay-per-view. So, DDP's the King of the Ring winner. Fair play. It's a better way to use him than having him be the Undertaker's wife's stalker. That was a horrible angle. And then you have, and this is on the second page here, you have Austin coming down. Okay, obviously that's all over. DDP, WCW can pick the stipulations. Austin comes down to attack DDP, and then he's like, knocks DDP out of the ring. Rock's down. He goes to check on Rock. Turns around. Boom. Goldberg spears him. Finally, we get the Austin Goldberg match that we're going to want. At some point. Not yet, though. So, over the next, like I said, Raw and SmackDowns, you have various, interpromotional matches. You got Mike Awesome versus, Rhino or something like that. You could have Lance Storm versus Chris Jericho, the Thrill Seekers reuniting. They will actually feud over the U.S. title later in this whole thing. In fact, they'll actually trade it back and forth after Lance Storm and Mike Awesome lose the tag titles. During this time, they will win that. Vince is mad the next Raw because, oh my God, it's like I've suddenly lost control. Now WCW, this invading brand that I own, suddenly can pick the stipulations. Vince is mad. Bischoff, a bet is a bet. But I'm reasonable. Let's do this in winners take all match at Invasion. How about you get 5 guys? I get 5 guys. And we go to war. That's right. War games. Bring back war games. Match Beyond. The 2 cages. The rings. So you got 2 rings. Stuff like that. You have Ray come in. So you can have Ray do his cool stuff. His cool acrobatics before his knees go out. The Cruiserweights make good use of the 2 rings in an 8-man Cruiserweight match for the Cruiserweight title. Jeff Hardy is in this. Chavo Guerrero's in this. You have Shane Helms, Ray, and you can throw 4 other Cruiserweights in there. Throw La Parka in there. Have that be the case. That'd be pretty cool. Light heavyweight, you can still have Tajiri and X-Pac feud over that. That kind of stuff. It would be good stuff. I think it would actually be tremendous. Because you would have a way of incorporating all these titles. Incorporate the TV title, even though it's throwing the trash on WCW. Bring it back and put it on a guy like Regal. Regal made the TV title mean so much back in the 90s. Anyway, so Vince says, all right, you want war, we're going to go to war. So WCW picks the stipulations, and Bischoff has his guys compete for the title. Now, Vince signs guys like Lex Luger and Buff Bagwell. They're reunited as Totally Buff. They come back, even though Vince shouldn't have wanted to re-sign Luger after he left and went to WCW. You have Totally Buff win the WCW tag titles in a tournament. Just a 4-team tournament, something like that. Ray would be the Cruiserweight champion. DDP would be the world champion. DDP actually would capture the world title briefly. And, just in a tournament, something like that, whatever. You could have him captured in a fatal 4-way, however. And Lance Storm and Mike Awesome would be the WWE Tag Team Champions. Because you got to have Storm and Jericho feud somehow. And Mike Awesome needs something to do. It's 6'7", 6'6", 6'7", 290, and can fly like a cruiserweight. So, you go to the Invasion pay-per-view. You have Storm and Mike Awesome versus the APA, the Hardys, and Edge and Christian. Jeff Hardy has to wrestle twice. He wrestles in a Cruiserweight match and then wrestles here. So obviously he's tired. Hardys don't win. Super kick. Awesome bomb by Mike Awesome. They pick up the win over the Hardys. Jeff Hardy gets pinned. He does not get buried though. He will be used more in this as time goes on. So now the Invasion main event is Team WWF, Austin, Rock, Taker, Jericho, and Big Show. Is that a team I could interest you in 2001? Versus Team WCW, DDP, Savage, Goldberg, Luger, and Bagwell. Okay, sure, so maybe Lex Luger and Buff Bagwell don't belong there, but we're going to get to that in a bit. Down to Goldberg and Austin. Looks like Austin's about to hit the stunner. Goes for the stunner, kick, he hits the stunner. One, lights go out. Or 1, 2, lights go out, and suddenly the ref's like, what the hell happened? Lights come back up, and, duh, who's afraid of the big black bat? It's going to be Sting. Sting's right there, drops Austin with the Scorpion Death Drop. Goldberg then hits a spear and a jackhammer on Austin despite his bad neck, Austin's bad neck. 1, 2, 3. So WCW takes over. So WCW is a surviving brand right now. WWE's not dead. Vince, obviously it's just for story, because Vince owns the damn company. But there we go. So now we're going to have that where I'm going to leave off. That's a cliffhanger. And I'm going to shoot another show here in a bit. So you're going to have to watch the second part to see where I go. Anyway, folks, follow me on Twitter if you'd like. @RebornAgain, REBOURNE again.